YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with an updated 2021 NFL mock draft. Had to get another one of these out before we get into a series of different predictions and rankings with just a month left until the NFL season starts. So, really excited to cover that here the rest of the way in the offseason, then full coverage in season. We're going to break down this mock draft in just a second. 60K, that is our subscriber goal by week one of the NFL. Please help us get there. Would really appreciate a subscription to either channel. Like I said, full coverage, weekly power rankings, picks, spread picks, all kind of coverage for the NFL every single day, every single week. Cannot wait for the season to start. Follow that Twitter, live tweeting games, every single NFL game pretty much. Updates on the NFL and the channel on that. And then we have a podcast weekly episodes there. Link in the description, in the comments for anything that you may need there. Appreciate any help. We have some new merch before the season kicks off. The Goat House is back merch. Really excited about that. You see a link on the screen, but there'll be a link in the description, in the comments for that as well. Let's get on the mock draft. Just did a power rankings video, probably my last power rankings video before the season starts. So if you go to the channel, you can check that out. It was most recent video, and that's the order I used. My power rankings, except we tweaked the end, so it's an NFC and AFC team, 31-32. So the Jaguars, if they got the first pick. And I'd like to mention, don't really pay attention to the actual order here. I think sometimes in these way too early mock drafts, people pay attention to the order too much. We're really here to break down some players and what players we potentially could see and where good fits can be here. That's the main purpose to this. Trevor Lawrence, though, pretty much locked in as the first pick. I'd say if there are those teams that are pretty set at quarterback. They got what I mean by that. They got a pretty solid quarterback that I still think should and will take Trevor Lawrence. There is a few teams, maybe a little more than a few, but there are some teams that are set at quarterback. If they get the first pick, they will either trade it for the most compensation we've seen in NFL draft history, or they'll take a guy like Penei Sewell from Oregon, perhaps if they need a tackle, because a lot of teams do need tackles, and he's a sure thing. But the Jaguars, if they end up at the first pick, Minshew could be sneaky good. He could be solid. You just definitely get better here. You definitely get better. There's no doubt about it. And you got a potential elite quarterback. Really, he's an elite prospect. So he's a sure thing at one. Really shouldn't be explaining this to any further here. Kind of what we did with Joe Burrow all off season. There, it was just locked in at one. Not too much to explain. If the Jets had the second pick, this is an interesting one. One with Greg Rousseau, the edge rusher from Miami, who just opted out, but should be a top pick. It is pretty tough when guys opt out because every year when we do these way too early mock drafts, it's always guys we expect and we have in the first round, and then we see them play for another year, and then we kind of have to drop them out, and they don't really go in the first round or don't go this high. So that's why it's tough. But this guy's legit. That bonus you get from him, that extra you see from him, is lining up pretty much everywhere and providing pressure anywhere. You see him at the nose tackle position sometimes because he's just that talented. But he will play as an edge rusher in a 4-3 or a 3-4. Tremendous pass rush moves, freaky strong as well. This guy will be a top pick. The Jets have just been missing that edge rusher for some time here. They've had some pretty good defenses, but they need an actual edge rusher, and that's why I went that route. Thought about Penei Sewell there from Oregon, but I like him at left tackle. Mekhi Becton, who they just drafted, used to play right tackle. He gave up more pressures there, moved to left, and was actually better. So it'd be pretty, usually they're pretty, you can move them around, and they can, I'm sure Sewell can play at right tackle, but I think they would rather just finally get that edge rush player. The Dolphins would go at Penei Sewell. They would probably move Austin Jackson, who they just drafted, to right tackle. Robert Hunt has the potential to play right tackle, but I like him at guard. I think he actually can be a really good guard. So I do like that draft pick. So Sewell there. Will be a plug-and-play left tackle, definitely an elite prospect here. The Giants go Micah Parsons. Yeah, they're kind of lacking at in linebacker, the linebacker spot in general, the unit. They need inside and they need outside in their 3-4. Micah Parsons really could probably play both. He's an off-the-ball linebacker, but you see him when sometimes he'll line up off the edge, but we see him in blitz packages as well. He's almost like a natural getting after the quarterback. So this is just an all-around weapon, somewhat similar to Isaiah Simmons last year. You'll definitely see Isaiah Simmons dropping back in coverage more, whether at a defensive back position. So that would be the difference. But in terms of the versatility and what they bring and the all-around athletic ability, pretty similar. So, and Parsons, by the way, did opt out, but I think it's pretty much a lock that he won't really drop because of it. The Bengals go Jamar Chase, receiver from LSU, the best receiver in college football last year, and so far, definitely want to see more, perhaps, but maybe the best receiver prospect we've seen in a long, long time, really. And his quarterback was Joe Burrow last year. You may say the Bengals receiver unit's looking pretty good. I agree with you there. It's looking really good actually right now. Love me some Tyler Boyd. A.J. Green's going to be back, and they draft T. Higgins, like T. Higgins' pick. A.J. Green, this could be it for him, whether it's because of injury or because they're just ready to move on and they like the future. With Joe Burrow, they're going to want to pass the ball a ton going forward, and you get him as number one target here. You build the best receiving core here, and Chase with Burrow again would be something special. And Tyler Boyd is a similar style player to Justin Jefferson, who Burrow had and liked a lot last year, and you saw how good that duo, and even throw Terrence Marshall in there as well, the trio was, and how important it could be for Joe Burrow, but for the Bengals offense. So, and just too good to pass. I think it's another elite prospect. We seen an historic receiver class last year, and I think Chase would have been the best in that class. Just all around, there's not missing anything to his game. The footwork is next level. The body control, the way he fights off defenders really stands out. He kind of plays mind games with the corners as well. Another receiver, I got Devontae Smith, who right now is my number 2 receiver in the class. Really good down the sideline, really good in the deep ball, has that next level speed, that next gear after he catches the ball as well. Redskins is tough here, but I definitely think, decide what they could use, because some people may think they could go quarterback. They definitely could. You could add to the offensive line after Penei Sewell. There's definitely a drop-off, though. They really need another target, and I think that would be a good pairing with Terry McLaurin. McLaurin can really do it all, but I like him around the middle of the field, cutting inside. So adding Smith to the sideline there would do wonders for Dwayne Haskins. The Panthers, I got him going Caleb Farley, another guy who opted out, so hopefully his draft stock isn't affected. The corner from Virginia Tech. I think he goes this high just because I really think coaches and GM scouts are going to fall in love with this guy. He's got the combination of strength, size, and athletic ability, and we know teams will fall in love with that. Once we get him in, a long time from now with the combine there, he's probably going to run in the 4.4s. He's about 6'2", very physical, proven he can play in man. He can run with guys. He has the ball skills. He pretty much checks every box. He's not going to wow me quite yet, and we won't get to see him play this year, like a guy like Jeff Okudah to me, but teams fell in love with Okudah. Teams fell in love with C.J. Henderson. You see how high he went, and I think teams really liked him because he has the speed, and then he was so good in his press man, so physical there. Teams are really going to fall in love with a guy like Caleb Farley there, so the Panthers grab him. Raiders take Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State. When it's all said and done, Justin Fields can potentially definitely go higher in this. Closer to Trevor Lawrence perhaps. Tough, especially at the way too early mock drafts, it's tough to figure out where the quarterbacks will go because every team should feel good about their quarterback right now where we sit before the NFL season starting. But if you look at the top, the Jets potentially, if they pick at 2 and Darnold struggles, they can do it. The Redskins can do it like I talked about. And the Raiders, the Raiders really aren't completely sold on Carr. Could be a reason why they brought Mariota in, but they have 2 options there. But, I think this would be a fun project for, not a crazy project. I think it's a guy that can, make an impact right away, but for Gruden there. So Fields at number 8 there. Number 9, the Patriots. Have them picking a little early, a little lower in the power rankings because all the opt-outs I think really affects them. Have them going Trey Lance, another quarterback here from North Dakota State. Definitely a quarterback the Patriots will be willing to take a chance on here. It sounds like they won't be playing football till around spring perhaps, and that means Trey Lance could sit out, so that's unfortunate. because you look at last year, some really good play in terms of throwing the ball, and on the ground as well. The only thing is, I think he only threw over 30 times one game last year, so I did want to see more in the passing department. But I think the Patriots would be a team that would take a shot on him. Dylan Moses, linebacker from Alabama. We didn't get to see him last year because of the injury, but a top-tier inside linebacker. The Browns lost Joe Schobert, of course. And really, the linebacker unit in general could use some upgrading there. Chargers definitely need to upgrade at tackle, so Alex Leatherwood could be an option, the tackle from Alabama. The Falcons, I like Todd Gurley with the Falcons. It's going to be fun this year, but probably only a one-year thing. Travis Etienne, I think, will be the best back in the class, total package guy, improving his game and being involved in the passing game, catching the ball out of the backfield and being a home run threat. The Jaguars definitely need interior help. Marvin Wilson, we thought, could come out last year and be a first-round pick. It's a really good interior defender here for Florida State, and he provides pressure at the quarterback as well. The Lions go Jaylen Waddle, receiver from Alabama, the speedster receiver. Definitely could see more production from him this year with Ruggs and Judy gone. The Lions look pretty good for this year with their receivers. Kenny Galladay is a standout guy. They have Marvin Jones, Danny Amendola. Not much else after that. Amendola could be on his way out. Marvin Jones does have a little bit of injury concern. We've seen him miss some games here and there. So adding Waddle to grow with Kenny Galladay for the future would be fantastic. Cardinals add more to the offensive line. Some thought they would kind of improve that in the first round this past year. Maybe this year, Wyatt Davis, the guard from Ohio State, definitely can help in the trenches there. The Colts maybe get a future T.Y. Hilton type player, Rondale Moore, maybe with a little more speed. Receiver from Purdue, you see T.Y. Hilton, maybe not as maybe close, but not as good as he was a couple years ago, and has the injuries pop up, and they definitely need receiver help. So a guy to pair with Michael Pittman for the future, really complement each other pretty well there. So that'd be a good pick for the Colts. Pick 17, the Bears. I got the Bears going with a quarterback here, Jamie Newman from Georgia. Really excited to watch Jamie Newman. The improvement from 2 years ago to last year was really impressive, and we've seen what every year, the college quarterbacks improve and step up. I think Newman can, in that Georgia system, could step up even further. Crazy arm strength. I don't think Nick Foles is actually, even though he could be potentially be on the team for a few years, I don't know if he's the long-term option for the Bears. And, Trubisky, it feels like, deep down they still think he could be the guy, but they're kind of getting ready to move on. So Newman could be an option for the Bears there. Liam Eichenberg, the tackle from Notre Dame, could help replace really either Bowles or Juwan James. I think Juwan James is a really good right tackle, but we've seen him miss last year with an injury. This year he opts out, so who knows what the future holds for him. But potentially could be a left tackle for the Broncos. Vikings go Trey Smith from Tennessee, the guard. I think could be a plug-and-play starter there. He had some health concerns in the past off the field. Nothing injury-wise on the field, but so that could make him drop potentially. We'll see. But he played last year, so Tennessee thought, he was good to go, so that's great news. So the Vikings could use some help on the offensive line. Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah from Notre Dame is that rangy, freaky athlete linebacker that we're going to start to hear more about. Those linebackers, always rise and always go earlier than we all expected. The Eagles definitely need help with their linebacker unit, so they can grab him there. The Cowboys go Carlos Basham Jr., the edge rusher from Wake Forest. I like him, as a 4-3 edge rusher, strictly there. The Cowboys definitely, lost Robert Quinn. They can definitely add some more pass rush, some help really for DeMarcus Lawrence, the opposite side of him. So Basham Jr. Could be an option there. Chuba Hubbard for the Dolphins. Dolphins got a pretty good 1-2 punch ready for this year, Jordan Howard and Matt Breida, but they could use the guy of the future. Hubbard, if he can kind of control, the fumbling, there was a little bit of a, issue with him putting the ball on the ground, nothing too crazy, but if he control that, then he can be a top running back prospect because he has a very, very good combination of strength and speed there. Another home run hitter. Packers hopefully finally grab that receiver in the first round. Rashad Bateman, who is opting out this year, the Minnesota receiver. Another sideline experts. A guy that has great hands, go up and make that spectacular catch, really good in the red zone. Very solid route runner as well. So the Packers definitely could add another Devonta Adams type guy there on the opposite side of him to keep some double teams off him. The Steelers got another team pretty good 1-2 punch at tight end this year, perhaps. Ebron, Vance McDonald, those neither are long-term answers though. Kyle Pitts is going to be the best tight end in this class. Very athletic. I think could be a better version of Eric Ebron, really, what they're looking for the future here. And we move on to the last 8 picks here. Patrick Surtain was tough to have him drop this far because he can go much, much earlier than this. You really could flip-flop him and Farley as well. But the Bills grab him, then they could pair him with Tre'Davious White there for the future. The Titans add Justin Ross, receiver from Clemson. Injury this year, going to miss the whole year, so that could drop him a little bit, but a very good lengthy receiver downfield there. And the Titans, maybe losing their former first-round pick Corey Davis this year, so that could be the replacement there. A.J. Brown and Justin Ross sounds like a really good duo. Creed Humphrey for the Niners. Offensive line looked pretty good last year, but interesting to see what happens there on the interior this year. They definitely think they can use some upgrades there, so they get the Oklahoma guard. Tyler Wallace for the Saints, another home run threat down the field there. Very, very smooth route runner with his footwork. Because of his footwork, Emmanuel Sanders isn't really a long-term option. I think this could be another, similar style option there to pair with Michael Thomas. The Jets grab Shaun Wade, who I actually think could be a damn good slot corner. I think he could play outside as well. But I think almost right off the bat, I think this guy could be one of the best slot corners, nickel corners in football. So, very talented. But some team could look to put him at outside because that could be more important, and he can play that. Quincy Roach here, the edge rusher of Miami. Miami actually might have the 2 top edge rushers in this draft class, which is crazy. I think he's strictly a 3-4. The Ravens will run that, and they could use a guy for the future. Is it Matt Judon? A long-term answer here. Doesn't look like it as of now. So Roach could be a good option there to provide some pass rush. The Bucs, interesting one. They don't have a lot of needs. You could get better at running back. They do have a long list of running backs at the moment, but again, you definitely could get better. Najee Harris from Alabama would be a good option there for the Buccaneers. And the Chiefs grab an outside corner that I think is physical enough to play in their because they like to run a lot of man there, man heavy schemes. So Paulson Adebo, who we thought could come out last year and could be a first round pick, but the Chiefs snag him there. So you see some pretty good corners there. Obviously in the first round, once again, some good receivers, some good quarterbacks. Love to see that. And some first-round running backs, too. You see 3 of them there, so you love to see that. But excited for football to start. College football scaring me a little bit. Hopefully, a lot of guys opting out, and there's some talk about some things getting pushed back, for way further down the line. So hopefully that doesn't happen. NFL sounds good to go. So I'm excited about that, excited to cover that. So hopefully you can join us for all that. Subscribe, turn notifications on so you don't miss a thing. Please smash the like button if you enjoyed the video. Again, recent power rankings video, more videos like that on the way. So cannot wait for the season. Best time of the year here for the Goat House. That's going to do it for this one, though. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Goodbye.